Everyone tells you to stop overthinking. Your friends say it. Your therapist probably says it. The internet definitely says it. But here is something nobody ever asks. What if your overthinking is the exact reason people can't manipulate you? What if that thing everyone wants you to turn off is actually the sharpest tool you've got? Because the research on this is fascinating, and honestly, it changes how you think about that voice in your head that won't shut up. You are the one who replays conversations 3 days later. You catch the thing someone said that didn't quite line up. You notice when someone's smile doesn't reach their eyes, when a compliment feels like it has got strings attached to it. Your friends call you paranoid sometimes. Your partner says you read too much into things, and maybe you wonder if they're right. But what if they're not? What if you are picking up on something real that most people just walk right past? Here is what psychology actually says. Overthinkers process social information at a deeper level than most people around them, and that deeper processing makes them significantly harder to deceive, to gaslight, and to control. Let's talk about why. Picture this. You are 8 years old, sitting at the dinner table, and something feels off, but nobody is saying a word. Your mom's smiling, but her voice is tight. Your dad's reading the paper, but he hasn't turned a page in 10 minutes. Nobody's fighting. Nobody's yelling. But your whole body knows something is wrong before your brain can even name it. So you start watching. You learn to read every shift in tone, every slammed cabinet, every silence that lasts a beat too long. You learn which version of your parent walks through that door, based on how their keys sound in the lock. And nobody taught you this. Nobody sat you down and said, "Hey, learn to read people." You just figured it out on your own because you had to. Because in your house, the truth wasn't in what people said. It was in everything they didn't. Psychologists call this a high contingency environment, where a child's emotional safety depends on accurately reading the climate around them. And research in the Journal of Personality found that people raised in these environments develop significantly stronger pattern recognition as adults. So let's start with the first thing that makes overthinkers harder to manipulate. It is something most people completely misunderstand. Overthinkers don't just think more, they notice more. Their brains are constantly scanning for inconsistencies in what people say and do. When someone tells you a story and one small detail doesn't match what they said last week, you catch it instantly. Most people let it slide. You can't. Not because you are suspicious by nature, but because your brain literally flags the mismatch automatically. Psychologists call this elaborative encoding. It means your brain doesn't just store information. It cross-references everything against everything else you know. In plain English, you've got a mental filing system that updates in real time. And when someone's story doesn't check out, you feel it in your gut. It is not paranoia. It is pattern recognition running at a level most people don't operate at. Exhausting? Yes, but it works. And here's what is fascinating. That same ability that keeps you up at 3 a.m. also makes you nearly impossible to gaslight. Gaslighting works by making you doubt your own memory. Someone tells you that conversation never happened, that you are remembering it wrong. And for most people, if they hear it enough times, they actually start to believe it. They let go of what they know, they saw. But overthinkers don't let go. You replayed that conversation 4 times already. You remember exactly what was said and exactly how it landed. You might even remember what they were wearing. That level of detail makes gaslighting nearly impossible to pull off. Researchers found that people who engage in what is called deep rumination actually retain social information with significantly higher accuracy than average, which means when someone tries to rewrite your history, you've already got the receipts stored in high definition inside your head. It is not that you can't be fooled. It is that the window for fooling you is incredibly small, and most manipulators aren't that good. But here is where it gets really interesting, because the second thing overthinkers do is something manipulators genuinely don't expect. You know that thing you do where you play out every possible version of a conversation before it even happens? Most people call that anxiety. Psychologists call it effective forecasting, and it turns out it is actually a form of strategic emotional preparation. You are not just worrying. You are running simulations. You are testing scenarios against outcomes and preloading your emotional response for each one. And here is why that matters. When a manipulator tries to put you in an unexpected emotional situation, you've already rehearsed it. They expect you to be caught off guard. They expect the pressure to make you fold. But you already played this exact scene in your head. You already asked yourself, what if they get angry? What if they cry? What if they try to turn it around on me completely? And because you already felt those emotions in advance, they don't hit as hard in the moment. The element of surprise is just gone. There is one more piece to this that nobody talks about. The thing that makes overthinkers genuinely dangerous to toxic people. Overthinkers don't just listen to what you say. They listen to why you are saying it. They track the intention underneath every single word. Most communication is surface level. People hear the words and take them at face value. But you hear the frequency underneath them. When someone gives you a compliment and it doesn't land right, you don't just dismiss the feeling. You interrogate it. Why did that feel off? What are they getting out of being nice to me right now? What exactly do they want? Psychologists call this mentalizing, the ability to infer someone's beliefs, desires, and hidden intentions purely from their behavior and their words. In plain English, you don't take people at face value. You watch what they do, not just what they say, and you notice when those two things don't match. And manipulators hate this. Their entire playbook depends on you accepting the surface and not looking any deeper than what they offer. But you always look deeper. It is not a choice. It is how you are wired, and that wiring is the exact thing that keeps you safe. But here's the part nobody warns you about. Because this thing you carry, it comes with a cost. And that cost is real. The same brain that protects you from manipulation also keeps you up at night over a text that was probably completely fine. You analyze your own words as much as everyone else's. You second-guess your own intentions. You exhaust yourself just trying to exist normally. And sometimes the worst part is you see through people you desperately wish you couldn't. Friends, partners, family you wanted to trust. Because once you notice the pattern, you can't unnotice it. And that kind of seeing is isolating in a way that is hard to explain. Psychologists sometimes call it the burden of perception. The more accurately you read people, the lonelier the world can start to feel. You want to trust people, you want to let your guard down, but your brain keeps filing evidence whether you asked it to or not. But here is what I need you to hear, and I mean this. That thing you've been told to fix about yourself is not broken. Your overthinking isn't a malfunction. It is a security system that was built by a kid who needed to survive an unpredictable world. And yes, sometimes it fires when there is no real threat. Sometimes it costs you sleep and peace and the ability to trust easily. But it also means you see people clearly. You catch the lies early. You walk away from situations that would have destroyed someone else. You are not paranoid, you are perceptive. And in a world full of people who can't tell when they're being played, that is not a weakness. It is a kind of intelligence that doesn't show up on any test, but shows up every single time you walk into a room. The people who overthink everything aren't the easiest to love, and that is true, but they're the hardest to fool, and that matters more. So the next time someone tells you that you think too much, just remember what that thinking has actually done for you. It kept you safe when nothing else could. It showed you the truth when everyone around you was buying the lie. And maybe the most powerful thing an overthinker can learn isn't how to stop thinking. It is how to finally trust what they already see. If this felt like someone was finally putting your experience into words, please subscribe. I make these videos for people like you. And if you want to support these deep dives, hit that join button. I would genuinely appreciate your support more than you know, because this world needs more people who see through the noise, and you've been doing that quietly your entire life.